What's up, everybody? I'm Sam Oches, Editor-in-Chief of Nation's Restaurant News, joined by Jonathan Mays, Editor-in-Chief of Restaurant Business, and we're here live on the floor of FSTEC in Dallas, Texas, where we're going to do a special Quick Bites, Jonathan. We're got 5 minutes. We're going to fight the clock probably again, but we're going to do our best, right?
Theoretically, yes.
Theoretically. We'll see what we can do. We're tired, but we know we can do this. We're going to talk about tech trends and all that we've seen here on the floor at FSTEC. And some of the main things that are popping up in our conversations around the show, see what they mean for the restaurant industry. So let's go ahead and start the timer. 5 minutes on the clock. Jonathan, let's start with AI because it's everywhere here.
It is?
Which makes sense. Yeah, have you heard a thing or two about artificial
maybe
intelligence?
Once or twice, I think.
There's a few things, a few conversations about AI. So, of course, AI is taking over the restaurant industry and the world. But the question is, is AI legit for the restaurant industry? What do you see as the application for the industry today as you hear it here at FSTEC?
Well, I mean, if you at FSTEC, it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to be taking your orders. It's going to be doing back of house functions. It's probably going to be putting your cheeseburgers in bags at some point or another like that. AI is all over the place. And the one thing that I will say that I see a lot of is voice-activated ordering in the drive-thru. That is a big deal. And let me play devil's advocate here, Sam.
Please do it.
Because I do wonder a little bit as to, is the industry rushing into that a little bit too quickly? You know what I mean? Because we have a lot of restaurant chains that are implementing voice-activated AI in their drive-thrus. Some of these, there's going to be pressure on some of these companies on some of these operators to cut labor costs to justify this expense of adding voice-activated AI. But the fact of the matter is it doesn't save much in the way of labor. It's not a huge labor-saving device. And so my concern is that what ends up happening in the restaurant space is that pressure to cut on the labor side because now they've got this person or this automated voice order taker in the drive-thru. So that means they could have one less employee. And that's going to make the existing employees more frazzled and things like that. I think that there are some other challenges with it. And I sometimes think that the industry is rushing maybe a little bit too much into that. What do you think, Sam?
Well, I think you're wrong, Jonathan. And here's why I think you're... Because here's the thing about AI. AI is always learning, right? And I think next year AI will be twice as fast as it is now, twice as smart. The next year, twice as smart as that. So I do think, yes, it's the dawn of something a little scary, but you got to embrace it, Jonathan, because here's the thing. The savings on labor will be important, right? Cost of labor is never going to go down. I don't think we're going to see cost of labor go down. So you have to find savings where you can. Automation makes a ton of sense. And I think when you talk about voice AI in the drive-thru especially, it's one of the most important roles to get right in the restaurant, right? And so the other thing about AI is, especially as it gets better and faster and smarter, think about the speed of service and the order accuracy. Yes, you're right. There are a few kinks we could work out today, but I have to say, I think it is here for the long haul. I think it's a long-term solution. But there are some things like costs that perhaps we have to figure out, making sure it's accessible to all restaurant companies, not just the major chains.
So the next thing we want to talk about is how small restaurant chains are going to be keeping pace with technology. This stuff is not cheap. And if you're a small operator, and we've seen a lot of small restaurant chains file for bankruptcy, have some real problems. A lot of upstarts are really experiencing some challenges right now. How do these small companies keep pace on technology, or can they?
It's a good question. I mean, again, labor costs are not going to go down. Food costs are unlikely to go down. So somewhere something has to give, right? And so an operational cost with technology being so high and so out of reach for so many of these small emerging brands, there is the risk of them falling behind. Here's where I do think there's hope. I think there's hope in that these tech solutions we see here at FSTEC, they're becoming more and more affordable as they get better. And again, as AI starts to make things a little bit more efficient, right? So I think it becomes more accessible to the emerging brands. But what we see here too is a lot of companies that want to specifically partner with emerging brands because, that big scale, big chain is not necessarily where that tech is going to play best. It's going to play best some of these smaller brands that need to focus on hospitality, need to focus on their communities. What do you think? I mean, do you think this is ever going to be accessible to the emerging brand?
I think it's going to be a challenge for emerging brands, and it is going to give a distinct advantage, at least to the large chains. when we're talking about fast food. But this is where we get back a little bit to the voice activated ordering. If I'm an emerging chain today and I see all of this technology and all of the, all these robots taking the place of people theoretically, I double down on service and I double down on that hospitality and I focus on what makes restaurants great, which is you go in, you have a really good meal, you get served by a human being, hopefully with a really good attitude, because that is what the restaurant industry is all about. And
well done. Look at that on time. Good job, Jonathan. We did it. We're getting better at this.
Yes, we are.
That is another edition of Quick Bites live from the floor at FSTEC in Dallas. Talk to you again on the next one.